1470 WNN. Listen live at wwnnradio.com and like us on Facebook. Search AM 1470 WWNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Do you have enough light in your life? Are you soaring in the joy around you? Are you stuck and unable to make life happen? Stay tuned for the Rabbi Jenny Show, where you will learn how to bask in the light and find more joy and meaning in life. Call to talk to Rabbi Jenny at 888-565-1470 and email questions and comments at rabbijenny.com. And now, if you're ready, stay tuned for the Rabbi who will light your world on fire, Rabbi Jenny.
Hey everybody, it's Rabbi Jenny. Happy Wednesday. I can't believe it's been a whole week since I've spoken to you. I have missed you desperately and I have so much to talk to you about. This week our topic is the rhythm of life. It's actually a topic I wanted to talk to you about last week, but if you remember we had a lot of stories that happened. And this week we're going to talk about the rhythm. And then if you master the rhythm of life, that you can actually empower yourself and enjoy things even when things seem to be dark, seem to be wrong. And the angle I'm taking with this is my favorite story in the Torah. We're going to get a little early Torah this week, and we're going to go into the story of Joseph. And it is my favorite story. It is my favorite character, and he was the master of the rhythm of life. He did not let anything that happened in his life divert him from his vision, divert him from his truth, divert him from the knowledge that he is with the Lord, as we say in the Torah. So let me just tell you the story of Joseph. If you don't know it, it's a very cool story. Joseph was the last of Jacob's sons, okay? And he was supposedly the favorite of Jacob's sons. And we don't really know why he was the favorite. There are a lot of contemplations on that and opinions. But the truth is he was his favorite. And he had a lot of dreams and visions and abilities and talents. And his brothers really, really were jealous. Didn't like him at all. So we all know how the story goes. Joseph gets thrown in a ditch and sold into slavery. Then, after he's sold into slavery, what does Joseph do? Does Joseph change? Does Joseph get angry? Does Joseph say, why is this happening to me? He never says that. You know, we see bumper stickers all the time that say, you know, what would someone say? What would someone do? Well, what would Joseph say? That's what I always say. Like, would he say, why is this happening to me when something bad's happening in life? No, he just keep being Joseph. So what happens is he's sold into slavery and he gets this really great job working for this Potiphar, this like really wealthy guy, assistant to the Pharaoh, I think. And, you know, I assume Joseph is fairly good looking. And so he's working for this guy, and the guy's wife kind of likes Joseph, and he's got a thing for Joseph, and she lets Joseph know. But Joseph's being Joseph. He's focusing on shining and being happy and doing the best he can at being Joseph. And he says, you know, lady, you're married. You know, I'm not going to do that. So, of course, she sets him up and accuses him of something horrible, and Joseph gets sent to jail. Does Joseph say, why is this happening to me? Does he say this is horrible? No, Joseph does what? He's Joseph. He walks, what they say, with the Lord, and he shines with his true light. He never diverts from the truth that he knows. He never diverts from his original dream, from his original knowledge of who he is in his heart. How many times in life do we let life dictate how we view ourselves instead of just walking as ourselves through life? And so that's what we're really going to talk about today, that there is actually a rhythm to life. And most of the time, it's not personal. Most of the time, it's not happening to you. Most of the time, you can take what's happening and make it happen for you and master your life. Master the rhythm of life. So Joseph is in jail. And remember, Joseph likes dreams. He understands how to read dreams from his childhood, right? He's got gifts. He's got talents. So he's in jail, and a couple of guys who work for the Pharaoh have these dreams. They have these dreams that are extremely rhythmic, which is great for our topic this week. The first guy has a dream, and it all involves, you know, a certain amount of threes and a certain amount of sevens, which could be a whole other show about numbers. But what happens is Joseph interprets both of these dreams for the cupbearer and the baker of the Pharaoh. One, he tells him, you're going to get into Pharaoh's good, graces again. You're going to give Pharaoh his cup again, and you're going to be happy. The other one, he says, unfortunately, you're going to be impaled on a stick. It's going to end bad for you. But both times he's right. And what's interesting about the tale and how it goes is that Joseph doesn't get upset when he doesn't immediately get freed for the fabulousness of his dream interpretations. He doesn't say to himself, well, why did the cupbearer not remember me when he got free and got to work for the Pharaoh again? Never once. All it says about Joseph is that he walks as Joseph no matter what, knowing who he is inside no matter what. So eventually we know the story, if you know the story. If you don't, the Pharaoh, the big guy in Egypt, he has 2 dreams back to back. And that is like heavy dream stuff, guys. You get 2 dreams back to back. First dream, 6 heavy, thick, sturdy, hardy cows. 7 hardy cows, followed by 7 starving, gaunt cows. Second dream, 7, sheaths of wheat that are blooming and full of life, followed by 7 withering, barren sheaths. And he says, Pharaoh's like freaked out. He's like, I've had these 2 dreams, 7, 7, 7, 7. It's like a really big deal. Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And the cupbearer remembers. He finally remembers Joseph. Joseph's not sitting in jail going, I wonder when they're going to remember me. They don't tell you that. They just say he always knows who he is. So when the call comes, he's ready. Like we know in life, timing meets preparation is luck. There's no such thing. He's prepared. He's been himself this whole time. So anyways, they call him. The Pharaoh calls Joseph up to the big place that Pharaoh lives, and he gets up there, and he goes up there to the palace. I guess that's the appropriate word. And he says, these are the 2 dreams I've had, Joseph. What do you think? Well, Joseph immediately knows because Joseph understands rhythm. They tell you Joseph can interpret dreams, but in order to interpret dreams in the way he does, he understands the rhythm of life. He understands that there is a time for everything in life. There is a time for us to be fruitful and abundant, and there is a time for famine. And if you understand that, you can master it. So what does he do? He says, okay, Pharaoh, this is what your dream means. You're going to have a really, really, really good 7 years. Like, so much you can't even imagine. You're going to have so much food, so much fruit, so much nuts, so much everything. It's going to be out of control for 7 years. And then 7 years later, it's going to be nothing. Gots, famine, everywhere. Both dreams, same pattern. That's what it means. So the Pharaoh says, oh my God, thank you. Joseph, you're like a man. You can ride in the little chariot with me. You can be my right-hand guy. You're going to basically run things here. And what does he do? The Pharaoh plans. Remember, this is about mastering the rhythm of life, guys. So what he does is he plans. In the 7 years of abundance, he assigns certain people to put food away. Okay? Put lots and lots and lots and lots of food away. He's preparing. He's ready. He's ready. He's ready. So when the famine hits, does it just hit Egypt? No. Hits the whole world in Torah, whatever that is. Okay? It just hits everybody. Okay? And so what happens is Egypt's got all the food because of Joseph. And as you know the story, right? Joseph's being Joseph. Eventually his brothers, have to come and call in for food. And they end up, bowing to him, which is what he saw when he was just a little boy when they threw him in a ditch. But he stayed true to his vision. He stayed true to it. We're not really using Joseph this week to teach about being true. We're using Joseph to pay attention and master the rhythms of life. Because I know it is so hard when things seem so awful to not take it personally, to not think it's something you did. It must be something I did. If I could just figure out what I did to make this happen, then I can just figure it out. But the problem with that is when you do that, you slow your life down. You slow down opportunity, you slow down the gifts as they're coming to you, and you get stuck. So I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story that I may get a little emotional about. It just happened in August, and it's a real Joseph story for me. I was driving to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I got a phone call that my father had been rushed in an ambulance to the hospital. And for reasons, very Joseph type reasons, I really, really knew this wasn't good. My father hadn't looked good. It just wasn't good. You know, you just know. So thank goodness I was the one who got the call. I meet my father. The lady comes out from the operating room and says, "Do you have clergy or someone?" I said, "Yes, me." I went into that zone. I went into that numb zone. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how am I going to tell my mother? How am I going to tell my sister? How am I going to tell my brother? You know? I'm getting a little emotional. So this happened, and what was curious to me in this moment was the gift that I was the one to go there. Because there's nothing anyone that can tell me. And that's why I'm talking to you today. And that's why I'm so happy to spend this hour with you. So thank you so much. But I'm so happy because never once when this was occurring did I think that I had done something wrong. But I knew not everybody around me would be able and capable of that kind of logic. Because let's just say it didn't come at a convenient time. It never comes at a convenient time. And what I noticed is that in my own grief process with this thing with my dad, which we're going to talk about with the rhythm of things, is that when you take it personally, when you say, you know, why is this happening to me? You literally put on yourself a pressure of the entire world. And that pressure slows you down. But when you take the time to grieve and say, this just happens, this is a part of the rhythm of life. There is a time for loving and there is a time for losing. There is a time for light, there is a time for dark, and it is everywhere, folks. It is like everywhere. So the next thing I want to talk about, and we only have a couple minutes before break, but I want to talk about this movie, and you're going to think, oh my God, Rabbi Jenny has completely lost her mind. But I, you know, secretly, deep inside, I'm about 17 years old, forever, okay? And if you know me, and our guest who's coming on today knows this truthfully about me. It's just, okay. So I'm going to tell you about this movie, and the movie is The Hunger Games. So if you're young and you watch The Hunger Games, you're going to really identify with this. There's this, I'm not going to describe the whole Hunger Games, okay? But in the last movie that they released, they put on these games where they have, like, children from all these districts come, like, essentially kill each other. It's very dark. But what's cool about the last stadium they designed is they designed this studio like this stadium where they're going to compete for their life like a clock. And the star and her team figure that out. They figure out that at a certain time during the day, lightning strikes. And at another time of the day, a flood comes. And at another time of the day, smoke comes. And another time of the day, bugs come to sting you. Or I don't remember exactly what horrific thing happens. But what happens is they master it when they understand that. When they understand that everything is in order, they are able to manipulate the circumstances in their favor. They're able to not hold themselves back and actually able to take things in their own hands, which is what we're trying to do in our own life. If there's something in your own life that you're dealing with that just isn't going your way, you know better than anyone else that when you say to yourself, what am I doing wrong? That gives you another like 5 or 6 hours going, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Instead of figuring out what's going on. Like, what can you do? What is this showing you? What recently happened in your life that's signaling a shift or an explosion or a change? You know, just because things are dark, which is what we'll talk about in the next segment, just because things are dark doesn't mean they're not light at the same time. What it means is that the light is coming. It is absolutely positive. Sunrise, sun sets. Moon waxes, it wanes. Tide ebbs, it flows. It's everywhere. Everywhere, folks. So we're going to come back. We're going to meet an exciting guest. And we're going to talk more about the rhythm and getting into it and mastering your life. Thank you. Spent hours in therapy, at the spa and the gym, and still feel as if something is missing? At Walk Between the Worlds with shamanic practitioner Jennifer Sellers, you recapture lost pieces of yourself, place them within your heart, and move forward to fully actualize life. With individual sessions and group classes, with Walk Between the Worlds, you heal your mind, unite your soul, and empower your spirit. Contact walkbetweentheworlds.com today. Mention this ad on The Rabbi Jenny Show and receive 10% off your first session. Walk free and whole and true at walkbetweentheworlds.com.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. Amp2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP2.TV.
Do you know someone who is currently struggling with an addiction? The struggle is over. Dream Recovery International has the answer. With a combination of highly skilled clinicians, innovative treatment modalities, and luxurious amenities, Dream Recovery International has it all. Focusing on core issues, spiritual growth, and personal empowerment, clients of Dream Recovery International leave addiction behind and move forward to fully embrace life. For more information, go to dreamrecoveryintl.com or call 855-DREAM-80. Dream Recovery International, where addiction ends and recovery begins.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Thank you again for joining me. And let me just give you our phone number. It's 888-565-1470. We'll be taking calls on rhythm in your life in a little bit. I wanted to get back to what I was saying right before the break. I think I was talking about that when it's dark, it's actually a good sign because it actually means that the light is actually on its way. And it's actually guaranteed. Okay, it's not like a joke. It's not like I'm making this up. It's everywhere. You know, the funny thing about human beings, at least myself, is I forget sometimes that I'm actually a part of the natural world, and I actually believe that I'm above it or different from it. But the actual comfort and, again, mastery of this rhythm is to understand that you are a part of the natural world. Your energy system, your feelings, your emotions, you move just as much with the planets, with the tides, with the moon, with the winds, as anything else on this planet. And once you figure that out, you can really start to enjoy those dark times. You can really see that those are the times that you nurture. I'm going to tell you a story before we get to any Tom, Dick, or Harry and our fabulous guest today. And this is a story about going to a sweat lodge. Okay? I am from the suburbs of Boston originally, and if you would have told me I'd be wearing a yarmulke, dressed in a dashiki, and going to sweat lodges in South Dakota when I was in camp in the Poconos when I was a teenager, I'd tell you were crazy. But the truth is that's where my journey has led me. So anyway, I'm going to tell you this story. I've really been drawn to the Lakota Indians and the Dakotas for a long, long time. It's actually a big part of my journey, and I'll talk about it on other shows. But let me just tell you, when you go to a sweat lodge, you might have heard of these. You might have seen them on those horrific channels on TV where they show you people screaming and running out of them, you know. I remember my mother called me. She was like, oh, my God, Jen, you're going to do one of those? It's really hot in there, you know. Anyways, so I go out. I go with my teacher, and I go with one of the elders, and we go to this, we go to this sweat lodge on Pine Ridge, out in the Dakotas, which is one of the Lakota Sioux reservations. The way a sweat lodge works is it's this little hut with actually no light, none. Okay, I'm not saying like a spark, There is nothing. You go in there and there is no light, dark, complete dark, horrifying. Okay, completely dark. So I go in and I'm in this sweat lodge to start because there's 4 rounds, 4 directions, 4 rounds. Okay, you got me rhythm. Remember the rhythm. Remember the rhythm. 4 directions: north, south, east, west. Okay, everything has an order. All right. So anyway, so you go into the sweat lodge, and in the first round, everybody's excited. Everybody wants to do the sweat lodge because they know they can do it. They know they can handle all 4 rounds, 150 degrees of heat and torture, and everybody thinks that they can do it. So you do your little tobacco prayer ties, and everybody climbs in this little hut. Okay. I don't even know if it was like 10 by 10. It was small, but there were like 20 people in this sweat lodge, 20, 25, maybe more, and you pile in, okay? And they weren't small, all right? I'm not going to talk about the sugar issue on in the Native American culture, but nothing was, there was no space, okay? It was really, really tight. I was terrified, folks. I have never been so scared in my life when they closed that door and they started pouring the water onto those hot stones. It got so hot. And this beautiful Lakota woman, she turned around to me and she said, Jenny, pray. You're in here to pray. And I started to pray. And I started to pray for the sun, for the moon, for the deers, for my mom, for my friend who was sick. I started to pray. And I started to, I wouldn't say ignore my surroundings, but it was getting really hot. And I was really scared. But when I was centered in prayer, when I was turning inward for the light, okay, you see where I'm going? It was real dark, okay? It was real dark, and something happened. Something happened that I did not think would happen. All of a sudden, the light came on, guys. It came on. I was watching a movie. I was watching a deer hunt. I could see this whole story happening. Whole story. And what that taught me is that even in the dark, there is light. Even in our darkest moments, we are actually working towards the light in our life. It's an opportunity instead of being a roadblock. So that's my story to get us into this new segment. We're actually going to move on because this week we have a gentleman as our guest. And so we're going to introduce our Tom, Dick, or Harry segment.
You're telling me Rabbi Jenny will talk to any Tom or Dick or Harry? Any Tom, any Dick, any Harry,
Okay, that's my fabulous sister who does my jingles. She is absolutely amazing. We'll talk about her at another time, but I love her and she's wicked talented. Our guest today for any Tom, Dick, or Harry is one of my favorite people that I get to work with on a regular basis. His name is Dr. Ian Silbert. Say hi, Dr. Ian.
Hi, Dr. Ian. Hi, Rabbi Jenny.
So, I actually specifically asked my friend Ian, Dr. Ian, to come on for the Rhythm Show because not only is he musical, he actually has had quite a life, an adventurous life, and I guess I want to ask you, Ian, like when we hear about rhythm and when we talk about the rhythm of life and the ups and downs and the dark moments of your life, what would you say is like the one moment in your life where you really had to like remember this?
Remember the rhythms.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, you've already taught me something, and you've already brought something forth from the Torah that maybe I didn't even know. 2 of my favorite words with people I work with are structure and consistency. I find that when we're structured and we're consistent, it lessens a lot of anxiety. It makes people feel better. But it's so much more emotional when you sort of put it in the guise as like a rhythm during a good time or a rhythm during a bad time. And that's what I think is so nice about the Torah too, is that light at the end of the tunnel that you're talking about. Probably for me, and I think it's very individualized. I think some people would think it would be death, or some people would think it would be other things. For me, I think it's when my son was born and he stopped breathing. Ugh. And he had a lot of problems at the beginning, and he was in the intensive care unit. And if I reflect back now, because you sort of get into a rhythm, you're waiting to go to the hospital, the bags are packed by the front door, everything is there's a rhythm, and you assume there's supposed to be a rhythm when you come home, and people are supposed to come and things are supposed to happen. And then that all sort of just changes.
Like jazz.
It does. It just sort of, it takes a totally different direction and creates an awful lot of anxiety. Unless it happened to me in a Toys R Us store.
Okay.
I'm just walking up and down. I'm looking for baby things. I start to cry. I can't stop crying. I'm crying uncontrollably. I'm embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed now talking about it. I'm not embarrassed thinking about how it played an important thing for me.
Right.
I actually think it helped calm me down at the time. But, and then I don't really know if it was conscious that I changed the rhythm after that. I think it sort of changed itself after that. And I think me and my wife adapted to the change in the rhythm after that.
Do you think anxiety is taking things like when we talk about taking things personal, and it's almost holding back the tears, holding back the sadness, holding back the genuine feelings of that we're having inside, and we're trying to find a reason, and when we try to find a reason, we can't move, like the movement in the music can't go forward because we're still trying to play the old song, and it's clearly not playing.
I think we like to play the old song because we think that it's going to calm us. We think it's something we're familiar with. We think it's going to make everything be okay. And it might make things be okay for a moment, and it might calm us, but it's not ultimately the be-all and the end-all. But yes, I do think that anxiety underlies a lot of other emotions that people are fearful to let go of. Core emotions, depression, anger, sadness, grief, and it's almost easier to be anxious. The other thing is, you mentioned before too, you said the word why. I don't really like the word why.
Right.
I like, how, what, when, where, who. When I find myself or anybody I'm working with saying why too much, that in and of itself makes me anxious. Because I don't know if we're really supposed to always know why. I think we're supposed to just sort of go with it and trust the process and feel okay with the people we're talking to and the people we're working to let some of those underlying emotions come up. And I said to you before the show started, I said, most of the time when you think that way, what's the worst possible thing that can happen to you if you're shaking, nervous, and crying? And the answer really is nothing. Nothing can happen to you. I mean, you're safe. You're okay. Right. That's going to go away. You're going to feel a little better, and you're also going to feel the way you're supposed to feel at the moment.
Well, and it's interesting because, it's like when we're looking for why, we're always looking for a negative. What I've noticed is the anxiety comes from asking why, assuming the answer is negative. And part of the dance and the rhythm is realizing that it's impossible. Because regardless, if you search for a why that's negative, it negates the nature of life. Because when we walk through whatever these experiences are, these feelings, we get different. We get more compassionate. We get more human. We get more whole. We may earn more talent. We may get more tools in our belt. And so, but our human mind wants to see that because things are changing, it must be bad, right?
We ask why, and we turn it into a negative because we have such a difficult time feeling or perceiving that it's our fault. We want something to be somebody else's fault or some other entity's fault.
Right.
So we have a real hard time with why.
And what about, we have a really hard time projecting positive?
No, we absolutely do. And if you'll sit in the room and you'll actually, do exercises and you'll say, okay, let's talk positive or something like that, you'll see the changes in people's affect. You'll see the changes in the way they speak, the way they tell their stories, and all of that. You'll take them out of their why I'm confused, I don't know why I'm in this direction moment, and you will include all of those positive. And then my brain wants to go back and actually say,
why?
Well, why? Why didn't we do that to begin with? It doesn't make sense. But
maybe in doing that, we become different. Maybe in doing that, we grow. We're going to talk more about the positive, negative rhythms when we get back to the Rabbi Jenny Show. Stick with us. currently struggling with an addiction? The struggle is over. Dream Recovery International has the answer. With a combination of highly skilled clinicians, innovative treatment modalities, and luxurious amenities, Dream Recovery International has it all. Focusing on core issues, spiritual growth, and personal empowerment, clients of Dream Recovery International leave addiction behind and move forward to fully embrace life. For more information, go to dreamrecoveryintl.com or call 855-DREAM-80. Dream Recovery International, where addiction ends and recovery begins. Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny asking you, are you ready? Life can bring many challenges, and sometimes we need help finding the answers to increase our awareness and take it to the next level. So are you ready? Come join me every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on WWNN 1470 AM, where you can hear and see me bring spirit, light, and love into your life. Are you ready? It's time to change your life, take it to the next level, and embrace the greatest that is you. Are you ready? The time is now. Wednesday, 5 to 6 p.m. on WWNN 1470. So let's get ready. Spent hours in therapy, at the spa, and the gym, and still feel as if something is missing? At Walk Between the Worlds with shamanic practitioner Jennifer Sellers, you recapture lost pieces of yourself, place them within your heart, and move forward to fully actualize life. With individual sessions and group classes, with Walk Between the Worlds, you heal your mind, unite your soul, and empower your spirit. Contact walkbetweentheworlds.com today. Mention this ad on The Rabbi Jenny Show and receive 10% off your first session. Walk free and whole and true at walkbetweentheworlds.com.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Thanks for sticking with us. If you'd like to call in and talk about the rhythm with us here at the Rabbi Jenny Show, you can dial 888-565-1470. We're here with Dr. Ian Silber, my great any Tom, Dick, or Harry guest, and we're talking about rhythm. But the last segment, we were talking about why it is so difficult for us to believe what is happening is going to be positive, and why we always assume in the dark that it's negative, when it's absolutely guaranteed. If you look at the rhythms of life, you know, the sun always rises after it sets, the moon always waxes and wanes. It's guaranteed that we always just forget. We completely forget. So I have to tell a story before Dr. Ian and I continue our conversation. I love talking to you guys. I'm going to tell you a story about my plants. Okay, this is such an important story because I really want to be a good plant mommy. Okay, I'm a good mommy, but I really want to be a good plant mommy. So I've decided to fill my house with all these plants. Okay, I have 2 orchids. If you have orchids and you're listening to this show, you may understand this analogy. I have these 2 orchids. They were so beautiful. They were like the most beautiful things. And I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to take care of an orchid. I'm gonna be a good orchid mommy. I'm going to be a good orchid mommy. Did I remember the rhythms of life when I was a good orchid mommy? No. Did I follow the directions on the little directions? Yes. So my orchid, it's gorgeous, and then one drops off, and then the next one drops off, and the next one drops off, and now it's bare. Okay? My bare orchid is bare. And it's really got me in a tizzy because it's dark. This is the dark, people. This is the dark part of my rhythm. And so I'm doing every week, 5 minutes, dip the orchid, dry it with the paper towel every week. And I'm like, I'm a bad plant mommy. I was ready to toss the orchid. I mean, this is crazy. I have to tell you, my orchid has a bud. And if you are listening and you have orchids, you know how absolutely exciting. One is not doing so well, but the other one has got a bud. And what that taught me, you know, me who teaches, who talks, is that I was totally dark. I was tossing that thing out. I had made a decision. It was negative, and it just took time. It took time and care. And I learned in the process that if you take your time doing something, it may actually come to fruition, that there is a rhythm to nature. There is a rhythm to life. This isn't an evergreen plant that you just toss some water out of a water bottle at that'll live forever. This thing's got to be coddled and cared for and nurtured, and then boom, and it just changes your whole life. So So we're getting back with Dr. Ian. Sorry, little diversion story. I had to tell you guys about my orchid. I'm so excited. So we're talking about this why question. Now, I want you to tell us what you do. Tell the audience what you do, Dr. Ian, what we do together, but you can talk about it.
Okay, I've been a licensed psychotherapist in the state of Florida for about 25 years. I started working off with children. In the last 5 years or so, I kind of fell into the substance abuse and dual diagnosis population. And I first met Rabbi Jenny at Dream Recovery International, where we worked together. And we have a very diverse team, which makes our work a lot of fun together. And we share patients. We do different things with patients. We really try, like I said before, to get to core issues that people are having a problem with. And
talk about work. Like, talk about like rhythm at work. Like, talk about when this issue gets hairy. When you, Dr. Ian, forget about the rhythm of things. In your work,
I noticed that if I get too serious, now the opposite of that is if I don't laugh. Mm-hmm. My rhythm at work is sometimes laughter that keeps me going throughout the day at work. I notice if things get too hairy and we're sort of jumping around from place to place, and we're not even smiling or just chuckling or laughing. Ultimately, it creates more anxiety. It kind of throws me off. And because we have so much fun, I go home in the car and I feel bad sometimes because I go, geez, I had more fun yesterday than I did today. And then you do say why, and then you do say, what was different, or you do sometimes say, what did you do wrong? The answer is you didn't do anything wrong. The answer is the rhythm of the day was different than the rhythm from yesterday. But that doesn't mean it was a bad rhythm.
No. And it means what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, what's the guarantee in the rhythm?
I don't know if there's a guarantee in the rhythm for tomorrow.
Are you different, though, because you realize that?
Absolutely.
Right. So can you dance with whatever comes to you?
Absolutely.
So the rhythm can be what?
Positive.
No matter what. Right.
Absolutely.
So it changes you. And sometimes with the clients that we work with, you can feel like you had the best day with them for like a whole week. They're doing amazing. And then they come in and it's like you haven't worked with them at all.
Absolutely.
And that,
right.
And then it's like, well, how am I going to trust this? How am I going to trust the work that we did together? I'm going to stop us right now. We actually have our first official caller on the Rabbi Jenny Show. This is Marcy from Delray. I don't think we know who Marcy from Delray is. Are you laughing? You can't believe you're on the radio, can you? This is my mom. This is my son's booby. Hey, Marcy. Hi, Mom.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Good. Did you call to talk about rhythm?
Yeah. I want to know, how do I get my rhythm back, Jen? Tell them why I'm asking.
Well, they know why I was talking about Daddy if you were listening on the show. Why don't we ask Dr. Ian? Let's ask Dr. Ian. How do you get your rhythm back after such a major loss in your life?
Mom, how you got your rhythm back is because you probably really didn't lose as much of it as you thought you did in the first place. It probably was always there. Other things got in the way. Other things needed to be taken care of. But obviously, you're a resilient person, and obviously you could move forward, and obviously you're a type of person who can see.
How do you know I'm a resilient person?
Because I know your daughter. And I'm extrapolating a little bit. I know your daughter, and I believe you're a resilient person. Now that could be I'm very resilient in a month, or I'm very resilient in a year. But I do believe that Jenny grew up in a house where people could always still see the positive. And if you're talking about rhythms, when things were dark, the people who lived in that house, which includes you, could always see a light, could always see the positive.
So, Mom, this is what I want you to do for me, okay, Mom?
What, honey?
Okay, I want you to do something for me. It's going to be hard. You ready?
What?
I want you to name 3 major things you've learned since Daddy passed away. Now, my mother and father, for listeners, they have been together since 8th grade, over 50 years. That's really important for you to know. If you've been through this, and you want to talk to Rabbi Jenny, again, give me a call. So tell me 3 major things you have learned about yourself, positive things, since...
Positive?
Yes.
I don't have any.
Come on, Mom.
You mean I can't include you and your
No,
brother and
I
sister
want
and my
3
grandchildren?
positive things you did. It can include going to the bank by yourself, Mom. It can include buying your first car.
I got my oil changed today, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah. Okay.
I went to the bank and opened up different accounts.
Whoa. Okay. What else? One more.
Everything alone.
Okay.
I've gone to meet really awful people alone and laughed.
Okay. And one more.
I go to bereavement.
She goes to group, right? Okay.
Yeah, I should have gone today, but I made a mistake and didn't.
Okay, so tell me, Mom.
Then
I need you to do one more thing, because we got time limit here. Okay, I want you to tell all of those women and men who are losing someone who they've been with their entire life. I want you to say something, because this is what life is about. This is the rhythm. This is how things change us. They give us this crazy opportunities.
I'm going to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
This is what I'm going to say. I hope that when you walk in my shoes, that you will have been a more independent person than I was. And I learned, the most important thing I learned from this is my lack of independence, because I was with your father since I was a child, and I depended on him for everything. And that was a mistake. It was a mistake.
Well,
and I have learned that, of course, I would never do that again anyway, and nobody could fill his shoes anyway. But that's the most important thing I learned, that I should have, instead of being an artist or a store owner or the mother of the damn year, I should have paid more attention to my life.
Okay, so what are you doing now? You're paying attention to your life. So your message for the viewers is to do what?
Pay attention.
Yes, to yourself, to your life.
Go with your gut. Go with your gut. Just pay attention. Don't let another human being help you off the sidewalk. Walk off the sidewalk yourself.
Oh, Mom, I love you. Thank you for calling in.
Love you, honey.
Okay.
I can't get it on TV.
Call you later. Thanks, Mom. Okay, we're back with Dr. Ian. We have a couple more minutes. Okay, Ian, we were talking about our clients, and you were talking about your clients. And we were talking about when you make progress in an area of your life, you may even want to talk about something else, and you take those, 3 steps forward, 5 steps back. That's the rhythm. Actually, when you do the salsa, you actually do that. It's dance. So give me another example from your life. We got a couple more minutes.
Well, it's first of all, with work, it's sometimes difficult because in substance abuse, a lot of the clientele expect kind of this immediate gratification, or we all sort of, away from psychiatry, psychology, and medicine, expect immediate gratification. We get sick, we take the same pill for 10 days, we all get better. It doesn't really work that way. The biggest thing is normalizing everything for everybody. When I gave you the example of what happened with my son, or even with my own mother passing, one of the things that I found myself doing, I was in school, was, counting the days, and then the days went into months, and then they went into year, and then it stopped. But, and I needed someone to tell me that was okay, and that was normal.
Well, that goes to something that we'll talk about very briefly when we come back, is that in Judaism, this is the Rabbi Jenny show, we are very rhythmic.
Absolutely.
And when you are grieving, when I wake up in the morning and I daven and I say the Kaddish for my father, I feel like I'm dancing. I do. I feel like I'm dancing with him. And I feel like with every day in this year that I am going to daven for him every morning, we're dancing. And eventually, the dance will come where it's just once a year. It will shift.
I feel that way too. I said Kaddish for my mother twice a day for an entire year. And on those rare occasions when you're sick or you couldn't make it or there was snow, you really felt out of your rhythm.
Right,
You missed it. Not that you wanted to continue doing it for 15 years, but you missed it.
Well, because you're dancing. You know, you're dancing and you're actually embracing what's happened. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening. Spent hours in therapy, at the spa, and the gym, and still feel as if something is missing? At Walk Between the Worlds with shamanic practitioner Jennifer Sellers, you recapture lost pieces of yourself, place them within your heart, and move forward to fully actualize life. With individual sessions and group classes, with Walk Between the Worlds, you heal your mind, unite your soul, and empower your spirit. Contact walkbetweentheworlds.com today. Mention this ad on The Rabbi Jenny Show and receive 10% off your first session. Walk free and whole and true at walkbetweentheworlds.com.
We want to extend a special thanks to our friends at the Boca West Foundation for all the wonderful work they do for Gift of Life and for all the meaningful service they give to the Boca Raton community. For over 3 years, the Boca West Foundation has generously supported local charities in the Boca Raton area. The Boca West Foundation. It's all about the kids.
Do you know someone who is currently struggling with an addiction? The struggle is over. Dream Recovery International has the answer. With a combination of highly skilled clinicians, innovative treatment modalities, and luxurious amenities, Dream Recovery International has it all. Focusing on core issues, spiritual growth, and personal empowerment, clients of Dream Recovery International leave addiction behind and move forward to fully embrace life. For more information, go to dreamrecoveryintl.com or call 855-DREAM-80. Dream Recovery International, where addiction ends and recovery begins.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. We're talking about rhythm. Thank you for joining me today on Wednesday. If you want to talk, I don't think we're going to be taking callers for the rest of this show, but if you want to call next time, it's 888-565-1470, and you can view the show at rabbijenny.tv. Anyways, we are talking about rhythm. I have a couple more stories. We're here with Dr. Ian. I have a couple more stories I want to share with you. There are two that actually involve my beautiful 12-year-old son, and the first one involves when you're riding on an airplane, okay? If you got fear of airplane, I want you to listen to me, because I want you to, next time when you're riding on the airplane, I want you to think about the rhythm. I want you to think about the rhythm of life, and that everything changes, everything passes. From the moment my son rode on a plane for me, I did not want him to be afraid of flying. So I taught him a little bit differently about the rhythm of an airplane. No longer were turbulence or bumps a bad thing. They were actually part of the rhythm. We call them our belly drops, okay? And now when I fly, I actually like them. Mostly because I know they eventually will pass. Even if it's when the plane gets down on the ground. The plane is not going to be bumpy forever. And my dad was so great about this. This is a real daddy show. He used to sit next to me on the plane and he would say, air is like water. It's bumpy. It's not always smooth. You know how when we're on a boat, it's bumpy? That's the plane. The plane's bumpy too. And so the next time you're in like a scary situation that traditionally has scared, what I want you to do for me is I want you to remember the rhythm. Because now you're listening to Rabbi Jenny. And I want you to kind of bounce up and down with that plane. And I want you to know that that plane won't be bumpy forever. And you might actually enjoy it. And you might actually fantasize that you're in some adventure movie and your foot is hanging out of the helicopter and you're getting ready to enter the jungle and you're really excited because you're going to meet somebody new or you're going somewhere special because you remember why you're traveling, where you're traveling. You're not caught up in the fear of the moment. You know, you're not caught up in the fear of the moment. And the second one I want to tell you is this week, my son and I went to a Native American drum making workshop and we're making these drums. And when you make drums, again, it's a rhythm. Okay, you get these wet deer skins and you have to stretch them and you put the rawhide in and you weave it and it's extremely frustrating. But you know, it's wet deer skin. All right. And it's not going to do anything but dry when it wants to dry. So you're pulling it and stretching. You're like, is this drum going to be good enough? Is it going to be right enough? And I'm telling you, like, I carried this drum all the way home. We carried our drums home, and we did not think it was going to work. I mean, there was just no way. Again, we were stuck in the dark. We forgot the rhythm. We forgot that when the skin dries and tightens, the drum works. It works every time. I mean, these people have been doing it since the beginning of time, but my mind, that same limiting mind, forgot the rhythm. It even forgot the rhythm on a drum, which is, irony in its best. So we want to say a goodbye to Dr. Ian and thank him because it is actually time. Do we have our contest winner? Dr. Ian, say thank you. We'll have you back on the show.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks, Jenny.
Okay, wonderful. We're going to do the ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge, I think.
Joy, 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 joy. It's Adeline Gobergstein, and it's time for the Rabbi Jenny Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
All right, who do we have on the phone? Hello? Who's on the phone?
This is Mike Campbell.
Hey, Mike Campbell, you ready for the Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge?
Sure.
Okay, if you can name 10 things really quickly, quicker than the last week, that you're ridiculously joyful for, then you can promote anything you want on the Rabbi Jenny Show. You got 10 things?
Okay. 10 things?
10 things you're ridiculously joyful for.
Let's see. My wife, my son, my car, camping, the stars, the higher power, meditation, old Twilight Zones, mythologies, and the Buddha.
All right, that's 10. That's really fast. So what do you do, Mike Campbell?
I do a lot of things, but I do freelance graphics for people, and I work in the treatment center.
Oh, okay. What do you want to promote? Anything today?
My website is CampbellGraphics.com. That's CampbellGFX.com. I brand networks and companies.
All right, CampbellGraphics.com. If you have any questions, you can contact the Rabbi Jenny Show. If you want to know the exact, what was it? Campbell, CampbellGraphics. Is that right?
GFX.
Okay, GFX. All right, cool. .com. All right, Mike, thanks so much for being on our challenge today. Have a good one.
Thank you, Rabbi Jenny. Bye.
Oh, you're welcome. So again, we're back here on the Rabbi Jenny Show, and we are talking about the rhythm in our life. And let's see if we have any other stories. I had a really interesting thing happen to me. Oh my God, this happened yesterday. So I'm taking my son to Alaska in June, and I get this thing in the mail about 2 free plane flights. Okay, I know you're all in the audience knowing it's like timeshare or something, but I could really use 2 free plane flights. So I decide, I'm going to go because it says anywhere in the continental United States. We're going on an Alaskan cruise. I could use these 2 plane tickets. I'm pretty strong when it comes to salesmen. So I go last night to this presentation. It's not timeshare. It's this wholesale vacation thing. And it was actually quite impressive. I'm not going to lie. And I was the only single person there, which is really strange. I mean, I think I got the mailing by accident. I guess maybe me and my ex-husband are on some property somewhere still. But I mean, it was all these couples, and it was just me, Jennifer, sitting there by myself. And we get this whole presentation about all these vacations around the world. And I love to travel more than anyone on the planet. I love it so much. So I'm watching this presentation, and I'm watching it. And remember, this is a show about the rhythm. Okay, so this makes sense. I swear. So she hits me hard right when I come in. You love to travel. You take cruises. You travel 4 times a year. You're going to love our program. Come on. Go into the presentation. They kill you with the numbers. You can do a week for $5.99 anytime you want, anywhere you want. It's ridiculously awesome, right? But I can't do it. And honestly, I really can't. And I can't do it because of the rhythm of my life right now. I absolutely can't do it. I'm not in that time in my life. So I got my plane tickets and I walked out, and I realized that I was dancing in the rhythm because I didn't feel sorry for myself that I couldn't do it. I have a beautiful son. I have other priorities in my life, and it's just not part of my rhythm. And someday it might be, but it's not. Not right now. And so I was able to really appreciate that I just didn't go there. I didn't go dark. And you know what happened on the ride home? This is a great story. I'm driving down I-95. I just got off the phone with some family. I'm dancing to Tone Loc Wild Thing, which was really cool. and some guy like pulls up to me in a TT Audi, you know, and rolls down his window, and we're racing down, like the windows roll down, and he's asking me out, and I'm like, are you out of your mind? Watch the Rabbi Jenny show. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? And it happened the whole way down Southern Boulevard, if you know Southern Boulevard, and he kept slowing down and speeding up and slowing down and speeding. And I thought, you know what, if I was feeling sorry for myself because I couldn't go on 5 vacations a year for $5.99 because I have other things to do, then I wouldn't have started dancing, and I wouldn't have had that really, really awesome encounter with somebody on the road, which, you know, we can talk about again in another show. So it's time, I think. It's time for the Rabbi Jenny Jam. But before we do...
Jam! Rabbi Jenny Jam!
Oh, Lord. That's my cute board op. He's just running the jam thing quicker. But I just want to tell you to tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6, and we're going to do my jam. You all know I love the rap music. So this jam this week is about the rhythm, and it's a little tribute to my girl Gloria Estefan from the MIA, okay? The rhythm is gonna get ya. The rhythm is gonna get ya. So let it get ya and ride the wave to the shore. And a brand new day stuck in the dark. It will soon be light, high on the day. You can expect the night. Rat-tat-tat-tat, ding-ding-ding-dong. If you've been all right, it'll soon go wrong. Then the joy will come, and you'll sing your song. You can count on that. It won't be long. Ding-ding-ding-dong, rat-tat-tat-tat. Rainstorms will pass. You can count on that. Or better yet, put on rain boots, coat, and hat. Dance in the rain, play in the dark, till the sun comes again and lights you a spark. Take heed not to waste or complain or to gripe. Each moment is precious, no matter the type. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset. Sunrise, sunset, moon waxes and wanes. Somehow you forget and you go insane. Think it's about you and something you did. But fast, slow, up, down, dark, light is just how it is, kid. The rhythm is gonna get ya. The rhythm is gonna get ya. So let it get ya and ride the wave to the shore and a brand new day. So what I want you to remember this week, it's Rabbi Jenny. I still have a few seconds. We haven't timed out the end of this show well. So we still have a few minutes, so we're going to talk more about the rhythm. What you're going to do for me this week, because you're going to think about me all week. I hope you're thinking about me all week when life goes up and down and round and round. And you're going to take note on a daily basis of the rhythm. I want you to actually, maybe if you're brave enough, I want you to track your life and see how many times it went up and down and up and down. And if you're down, it's soon going to go up. And if it's up, it just might dip down. But then it'll go up again. It is guaranteed. So love, love, love hard. Okay? Light up the world around you. Be everything you are. Be like Joseph. Be yourself. Be true to who you are at all times. Because it all comes around again. It's absolutely guaranteed. That's in the Torah. That's in life. That's in everything. In the beginning, there was light, then dark. It's just the way it goes. Thank you so much. I'll see you next Wednesday. Talk to you next Wednesday. This is Rabbi Jenny.
You have been listening and lighting up your life with Rabbi Jenny. Join us next week for another session of love, light, and joy as Rabbi Jenny takes life to the next level. Are you ready? Rabbi Jenny says the time is now.
The opinions expressed